Welcome back to Garage Kei. I'm going to talk to you for a minute or two, or five. Normally on Garage Kei, what you get is the next footage that comes out off the GoPro. That's what you get. Whatever that is, that's what you get. It might be me working on a cabinet. It might be me, who knows? Could be anything, knowing this channel. It might be a gaijin in a car. It might be mystery gift. Who knows? It could be anything. But that's how it works. Whatever the next thing on the GoPro is what you get to see. Except this time. The next thing that's actually on my GoPro, the GoPro 8, is not going to be shown. And the reason for that is I spend about 15 to 20 minutes talking about the differences between the brakes in the white Alto and the blue Alto. Now, they are both CN21S Altos, but the brake system is different. And the reason for that is the previous owner has done a brake swap on it. Now, why aren't I going to show you that footage? Well, because I can't prove that it's true. At the time of recording, I believed it to be true, but closer inspection of parts manuals and things like that, I'm not so sure anymore. And some of the things I've said in that footage that I'm not going to show you, I have actually found to be incorrect, or I have misspoken, saying something like CN22S instead of CN21S, which is what my two Altos are. They're both CN21S. Okay, so that's why you're not going to see it. Now, I'm not going to go into this too much because this is a real rabbit hole. What I've got here is the original parts manual for the CL22, CM22, CR22, and CS22S, as you can see. And I'm just looking at brakes to try to figure out what brakes I have and how much of what I said in my recorded footage is actually true. Some of it is, but it's just better if I re-record it with accuracy. I can tell you that, like, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 different parts. Yeah, 4 different parts diagrams for brake master cylinders. And I'm guessing there must be some kind of subtle difference, otherwise they wouldn't have bothered. Like, on these two, you can clearly see that the, well, I don't know if you can clearly see it. See the reservoir on that one? Now check the one on that one. Obviously different, but that's not all. So, but that's not what I was looking for. What I specifically wanted to look at was brake lines. Now, I'll flash this up on screen so you can see it. This is listed as brake piping. This is for two-wheel drive SX and four-wheel drive, apparently. Now, I want you to have a look at the back section there. See that there? I want you to look at that. So the main line comes in, see that? All the way around, and then plugs into this thing. That is a proportioning valve. That feeds the wheel cylinder over here, and then it has an output that goes across to the passenger side wheel. So both of my cars should be like that. However, the blue car actually looks a little bit like this one. I would like you to look at the same location where we have one line coming into is that the same part? Let's have a look. Number 20. Now I can tell you the proportioning valve here is 51910-50A12. Now the proportioning valve on this one, number 20, is 51910-84312. So the proportioning valves are different between the two-wheel drive SX and four-wheel drive and the RSX and RSR. They have different proportioning valves in the rear. What I also want to show you is this here. This piece is a splitter. It actually splits one hard line over to the driver's side wheel and then another hard line over to the passenger side wheel. See that? It doesn't run through the wheel cylinder anymore. Now, that could possibly be because of disc brakes on this model, but I'm not 100% sure. Did an RSX or RSR ever come with drum rear brakes? Good question. Let's find out. I have some answers, and those answers come from the service manual. This particular manual, it's quite thick, is for the CN21S and CP21S. They were the first of the C chassis 660 version. There were 550 version C chassis, but we won't worry about that because we're not dealing with that. Minus 660. So here we go. What did you find? Well, these books are amazing. And I say books because there's 8 of them. Okay? Now, so this is the original one. And revision 1 is for the CS22S, CR22S. But it's just the electrical diagram. So that's not going to be any good to us. The CS22S and the CR22S don't feature again until number 4. Alright? Okay, now if we open this up, this actually gives us all of the model information across the top here. CE-S, this is the Parky S, this is the, what is this, Web S, Web EXS, and the Regina. I've never actually seen a Regina in any of these models. So I thought the Regina was only CN11S, but I mean, I'm learning things all the time. Now, if we focus down here, it's got safety, and we have front disc brake. It doesn't say anything about the rear, so one would assume that it's rear drums in all of these. I've been through them all, and none of them, like, because there's pages of them, none of them mention rear disc brakes. So checking number 1, this is just the electrical diagrams for the CR22S and CS22S. It is weird that this is the first time that those two are mentioned, but it is what it is. Okay? So checking number 2, that's only front, that's CN21S as well, only front disc brakes. Checking number 3, still only CN21S, and we've got front disc brakes, yeah, so, yeah. So as far as I can tell, a CN21S never came with rear disc brakes, okay? Even if it was 4-wheel drive or whatever. A CN21S, CP21S never came with rear disc brakes, according to the manuals that I have. So that's going through 1, 2, and 3. Now, if we go to book 4, we're greeted with the CR22S and CS22S. On this page, we have, finally, 4-wheel disc brakes, equipped RSX and RSR. The Turbo IE for the CS22S and CR22S did not have disc brakes in the rear. Can we, yep, that's it. Okay, so it never happened. According to these books, I am missing 5 and 6, but in book 7, 4-wheel disc brakes, on what model? It doesn't say, oh, the Works R. This covers the Works R. There we go. And this is only CR22S. Now, another revelation that I've come to is from the big book. And remembering, this is CN21S and CP21S. This was before the CS22 and the CR22. I found the RSX. For a few minutes there, I thought there wasn't an RSX or RSR in the CN21S and CP21S due to the fact that I couldn't find any evidence of 4-wheel disc brakes. However, that's not true. They did, in fact, have RSX and RSR, but as you can see, as you can't see, but I can see, they did not have four-wheel disc brakes. So that is pretty much it. I can find no evidence that a CN21S or a CP21S ever had rear disc brakes from the factory. They fit because you can use CS22S or CR22S stuff or various other things, but they never came from the factory like that. So after all of that, we're actually looking at brake lines. So we need to figure that out. I guess to do that, I need to use what's called the model code, and I'll use the RSX and the RSR codes from here to try to figure out whether a CN21S ever had the dual lines that ran to the back. Then I need to figure out whether a RSR CS22S or CS22S ever had drum brakes on the rear. So that's my next task. Okay, so where are we? What I did in the end is I got the part number for that one line that runs from the that three-way T-piece over to the passenger side wheel. I got the part number for this and then checked it, and it only came up with RSRs or RSXs, and we already know that all of them are disc. So we can take away from that it would be a fair guess to say that if the car has only one line going to the back and one line going to the driver's side wheel, then it's fair to say that that car came with drum brakes, and that's why they did it. One line goes to the driver's side drum input, and then it comes out of the drum over to the passenger side wheel cylinder, and that's how that works. I can't find any evidence of a car with rear discs that has that. Anyway, that is not the end of the brake saga, because even after all of that research, I still don't know what is in the blue car, because it has the one line that runs to the back. It does have a T-piece or a three-way joint, whatever you want to call it, but I don't know whether it has the proportioning valve at the rear or not. It also has a proportioning valve in the engine bay, which, if you remember from the diagrams, that didn't have. So we'll go into more of that later. I'll use the same diagrams and the same arrows that move across, because that was really cool, to talk about more brakes in the future. But yeah, that is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It is just me having a chat with you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you did, leave a like for me. If you'd like to see what happens next, press subscribe. Check out the description. Check out the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the merch store. Get your name on the Garage Kei door. Do all of the things. I will see you in the next episode. Later.